Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Soapy Brain Podcast. I'm your host, Kat, with my co-host, Hammer. I'm so happy to be starting this channel with you. I'm very excited for this. It's been a long time coming. So our first video, we're going to be starting on Bigfoot and the Yeti. So just a quick definition of them. They are defined as large bipedal ape-like and covered in hair. Over a century, there have been supposedly many sightings of these mysterious creatures. In my research that I found that many countries have their own version that are depending on their region. So it's not just the Yeti and Bigfoot. Mainly I found in it being like Asia, surprisingly, if you can believe that. And then North America is the only one besides Asian countries. There's one in Florida specifically called skunk ape.
Why is it called a skunk ape?
I guess because it stinks. Like you can smell the odor from super far away. And they
I
defined it
blame
as a
I blame
five.
Florida man for that.
It's defined as a 5 to 7 foot hairy creature that's just
So
wandering
that's not even Bigfoot.
around. No, but they count it as Bigfoot, and they have a website called Official Skunk Ape Research Headquarters. Anyway, in Tibet and the Himalayas, it's known as the Yeti or Abominable Snowman, which is in a lot of several movies and TV shows. Even in Monsters, Inc., they have the Yeti or Abominable Snowman. It's dating back all the way to the people that were originally in Tibet before like settlers came. They had like old stories that were passed down through generations of seeing the Yeti. And then when settlers came over, that's when they started defining it as the Yeti. But before it was being called a glacier being as the god of the hunt. And it
I want to be
was,
called God of the Hunt.
I know you do. It was religious guardians against evil spirits, but sometimes they were viewed as bad omens. So because nothing was written down and it was all word of mouth until settlers came over, the definition is kind of a blurred line, but it did date back way back then, which is kind of funny because 2 million to 350,000 years ago, there was a giant ape that actually like existed called Gigapithecus, I think is how you say it. It was found in
So hang on
southern.
here.
It
Two
was,
million to 350,000 years ago?
yes, so that kind of
That's like a
huge.
huge time gap.
That's how long they lived for, though.
So they're not alive anymore?
Supposedly, there's Bigfoot and the Yeti still, and that's what they're derived from in just these subspecies that have now existed. But they were found in southern China, Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, which is kind of close to the area of the Himalayas. And these ones were apparently 9 feet tall, weighing 600 pounds. But instead of being upright, they had the posture of a gorilla.
So it's probably just a giant gorilla back
Yeah,
then, 2 million years ago.
but people are saying
Which
that the Bigfoot is derived off them, and like them and humans somehow made a baby, and now that's Bigfoot.
So you're telling me some giant 9-foot ape 2 million years ago,
Got with Homo sapiens and made baby.
a, a little baby big.
But it was
Oh,
apparently in like the 20th century, the scalp of a Bigfoot was found.
I've heard this story before. So there's a bald Bigfoot roaming around.
No, no, it's dead. And
Well,
it,
the scalp is dead.
which doesn't make sense to me of how could you only find the scalp and not like a skeleton?
How do you scalp a Bigfoot? That's where'd the scalp I mean, the scalp came from a Bigfoot, but how did you get the scalp?
I have
Like,
no idea.
yeah. That's
But
what I want to know.
oh, this picture right here is apparently a Bigfoot seen in Colorado. I just had to share that with you.
Looks like he's wearing sunglasses,
I know, but
just chilling.
supposedly Bigfoot's in Colorado.
Oh my goodness.
But here is the scalp and the foot that was supposedly found in like Tibet all these years ago.
He
I'm
lost his
sorry,
sunglasses.
the scalp looks fake.
I've seen this before.
Have you? The
Yeah.
sunglasses, I guess, are measurement, but sunglasses
Wow.
came in
Bigfoot
different
lost his sun.
sizes.
The the Bigfoot in Colorado, those are his sunglasses.
Definitely.
So that's was do you have any more pictures of the scalp?
No, that was the only picture I could find. And
Oh
in my
man.
research, they said it was authentic.
Of course. I mean, who knows? It could be. It could be. It's hard to tell from this angle. I like the lock on here. Like nobody's getting in here. Can't break the glass.
Or just take the box.
Yeah. What's up with this? Is it cold? Is this like a blanket for the scope?
It's to hide it. I in Tibet, because you can see the money over here on the side too. In Tibet, it was seen as
Oh.
sacred. So I don't know if it's a shrine,
Oh my goodness.
but
Tibetians are weird.
let's get into Bigfoot of North America.
Yeah, let's leave the gorilla Tibetian alone.
So the first spotting of Bigfoot in North America was in 1958 in California. And it was loggers saying it was some relative of the abominable snowman. And of course, it was published in all of the newspapers, and curious readers started just taking off with the story. And so Bigfoot in North America has been around since 1958.
So
And
here's a young Bigfoot.
but in 2002, Ray Wallace, who was the one that started the whole Bigfoot thing, actually confirmed that it was a prank on his deathbed.
So, like, he was dying and he said it was a prank, or somebody pranked him on his deathbed. Like, haha,
He
just kidding. And
he
then he
was
died.
dying and told his children, and it was either his children or his grandchildren came forward and released the information saying, "Hey guys, this Bigfoot that apparently started the whole thing in Northern California, it was all a hoax, not real. Ha ha."
That doesn't make any sense to me either. I just would have ran with it. But yet, there's so much. That is, there's there's so many Bigfoots out there. Have you seen all the casts of Bigfoots? And apparently, there's like these little lines like on your fingernail or on your fingers of the Bigfoot's foot. And apparently, this image right here was from the I think the '60s
Yeah,
that I'm looking at.
1967.
Yeah, and this is the most like the goodest, bestest evidence that we still have to this day of quote unquote Bigfoot.
It is the most
Uh,
popular picture that is used in media, in news articles, anything like that. It is this photo from 1967 that was taken by Roger Patterson and Bob
yeah,
Gimlin.
the Patterson tapes. Yeah, the Patterson tapes. I think they're just a couple of I think there's just a couple of ranchers. They were out strolling around on their horses, or they're out hunting, and I think this is Upper California,
Northern
if I
California, yeah.
remember. Yeah. That's the best quote unquote evidence that we have. I've seen documentaries where people have tried to walk like this, and they're like, is it a human or is it a gorilla?
Well, to this day, no one's been able to replicate this exact walk or anything.
Yeah.
So I Don't know if I believe in Bigfoot. We'll get to that later, but just the fact that no one's able to replicate it, kind of weird.
All right.
So
Ooh, look at that. That's definitely a Bigfoot. That blurry image is definitely a Bigfoot.
this blob was taken by Jim
He even has a
Mills
backpack.
in the Marble Mountain Wilderness. It's interesting to say the least. I imagine it's just some poor guy hiking, and it was actually taken by a youth camp leader, and it was 7 minutes long.
Oh my goodness.
It was in the
They're in the
Marble Mountain
Himalayas.
Wilderness, which is here in the United States.
Where are the Marble Mountains in America, though? Probably somewhere up north, obviously.
They are in California, I believe.
Of course, they're in California. Everything's in California.
Northwestern California.
Probably just some hippie.
He's
Lives
just
in
going for a stroll,
California.
some dude trying to reconnect with the wilderness, and
Yeah.
some dude's recording him for 7 minutes.
Yep, that's all that is.
But
All his little hippie belongings. Ooh, hey, look at that.
this
Looks
next
like a
one is
guy in a
called the
ghillie suit.
Independence Day sighting. It's supposedly an adult and baby Bigfoot caught on camera, but the filmmaker has not come forward and the location is not described.
Yeah. This is just
So,
some dude in a ghillie suit.
or a gorilla suit.
Or a gorilla suit, yeah.
These
Yeah.
next ones are both taken from Provo Canyon, Utah in 2012 from two different people.
Okay.
And it was two different people within the same year in the same place. And it was thought to be a bear until it stood up on two legs and apparently
I
started throwing rocks,
was
which,
gonna
if you
say,
didn't know, is typical Squatch behavior.
yeah, they're always throwing rocks at me.
You sounded like one just now,
I had a yawn.
but it is.
I've seen the footage of on YouTube of this uh Bigfoot throwing rocks at the person filming.
It is kind of weird that it's two separate people, two separate occasions, but same place, same year.
Who knew they had fall time in Provo, Utah? I thought everything was desert up there.
There's some mountains.
Yeah.
I don't know where Bigfoot would hide in Utah.
Yeah. Maybe too hot in Utah.
And then this last one, first of all, the
Hey,
picture,
Bigfoot lost his matches. He lost his glasses and now he lost his matches. Of course the guy's mad.
the one on the left is kind of terrifying to look at. It looks like something you would see in nightmares.
Almost looks like a werewolf. I thought we were talking about Bigfoot. Now we got a werewolf?
Werefoot.
Oh, Werefoot.
So this is a trail cam in 2007 in Pennsylvania, and it was supposedly people just claiming bear with mange, but I don't know any bears in Pennsylvania, and that doesn't look like a bear. But
I'd
also,
believe it. There's a lot of rural area in Pennsylvania, and it's close to Canada, so it might be
true.
a bear with mange.
But if
Yeah,
you
I've
look at its
seen.
structure, it doesn't look like a bear.
Eh, well, yeah. Ugh. I don't know. I'm not an animalologist, so I couldn't tell you.
And then this picture on the right-hand side is actually from 1980 in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Locals found a large foot, which was 17.75 inches long, with also reports of strange noises and an unusual strong odor. And it's actually funny because the distance between these two sightings is just 87 miles.
Okay, so this one with the Bigfoot losing his matches is from 1980, and this is a
Yes.
trail cam from 2007.
Yes, which is kind of funny that 1980 looks a lot better than 2007.
Right.
And then
And
this
they're not very
last picture I have is from 2013, and it's in Mississippi. And he said he was out hunting and posted the video online because he was afraid to go back into the woods. Which that looks more like a bear than the last picture.
That looks like Skunk Man or Skunk Ape. What was it?
Skunk
Skunk
ape.
Ape? Skunk Bear? Skunk Ape near Florida. It looks. I'm calling it a bear. Are there even bears that far south?
You never know. Something could have gotten loose in the Mississippi wilderness.
Let's see here. Bears in the south. American black bear, brown bear, Florida black bear. Oh, Florida man has a pet. Ooh, man, that's a big bear for a Floridan bear. I guess
See,
so.
there's bears in Florida, so
Yeah. I guess there
and
could be bears.
so
What is this?
let's get into some of the theories that I have.
All right.
Theory one I have is that it's all a prank or just to set up people dressed in gorilla suits or something similar, falsifying footprints, which I believe because past 1900s camera quality has only gotten better. And some of these more recent pictures and videos look like they are shot with a Nokia phone.
Well, I mean, the camera's not that old. It only came out in 1950.
But even still, you would think that something from like 2013, 2012, stuff like that, it would be better quality.
Well, maybe it was only like 2D digital and not like we have today in 2023 where it's 4D digital.
Even still, the home videos that, I've seen from 1997 have better quality than
Probably that's because they cared back in 1997. They don't care anymore.
And then
There's
my
just
second
it's
theory I have is it's just misidentified wildlife. For example, bears. In this picture, you can see the front paw is the one that's in the back, and the back paw is actually the one that's in the front.
maybe it was going backwards.
Well, they have been known to stand on two legs.
Like
And
one in front of the other, like a tightrope.
I don't know if it's like a tightrope. I think it's more of a waddle. But their back
Like
foot
a
definitely matches the footprints.
like it was drunk.
Exactly.
Like, hey, everybody, look what I can do. Nobody cared.
And then my last theory is that there is a large bipedal ape that's just able to elude everyone. And it's the hardest one to believe just because the amount of food that something that large would have to be able to consume on a daily basis is ridiculous. Just kind of for reference, an adult male gorilla needs at least 45 pounds of food a day, and a male orangutan needs up to 3,000 calories per day. And being
Sounds like
bipedal
me.
means it would also mean it would have to build nests instead of sleeping in the trees. And with deforestation and urbanization, I cannot see it hiding easily as, bears are coming in from into cities from like mountains and wilderness. How could an ape that big elude people for so long? And it's just these random sightings that you see every now and then.
Well, Bigfoot has been the hide and seek master for the last, I don't know, 200 years or so.
With today's technology, though, like drones, trail cams, they would have to be super intelligent to be able to avoid those things instead of just these random snippets of sightings we see.
Oh, maybe they are smarter than we think they are. That's why we haven't seen them even to this day. I'm like everybody else. I am still waiting for somebody to bring more than just a scalp of a Bigfoot.
Or
I
foot.
want to see, yeah, I want to see a body, alive or dead,
That's what
preferably alive. I think it'd be cool to see it alive, obviously, just like everybody else. But
That's kind of what I'm
you
saying
know?
though, with how much people are out like hiking or all this
Yeah.
nonsense. You would see a dead body because if unless they're advanced enough to be burying their dead.
I don't know, they might be, but then that would mean that there would have to be, like, a, small colony of them, small little civilization,
And unless
if
they
they're
live
advanced enough.
hundreds of years, there's has to be repopulation from something from 1958.
Yeah. So you'd be surprised. I read a story about this guy, he went out, can't hi hunting, ugh, and he never came back, and it was years later, somebody found him, and a boulder fell on him and crushed him. And he was all just like a skeleton. His gun was rusted out. His clothes that he was wearing were just tattered from the weather. And the whoever found him was able to find his ID and his wallet and from like I can't remember. It was a long the time that he disappeared. I think it was back in the 80s to the time where he was found. Oh man, it was like a good, I think 10 years just because of the remoteness of where he was, and he was avid. He was an avid hunter, avid hiker, but just this boulder, silent boulder, fell on him, crushed him. So hear stories like that all the time.
And I want to get
There's
into
a
this.
lot of wild out there still.
Well, and I want to do this in another uh podcast, like in another video that we make. But I just want to bring up that so many people go missing each year in the national forest
Mm-hmm.
and they're never
Oh
found.
yeah.
But that would be the only place I could see Bigfoot hiding out would be national forests and stuff, not Florida, not Mississippi, not Northern California with all the people moving to California.
I mean, moving out, so maybe that's why they're moving back into California because Bigfoot's like, oh, everybody's leaving, let's go back.
Like, wow, the real estate here is insane.
Yeah, look at this house. Look at the ceiling room. Ceilings are so high in these houses.
I feel like
So
you would see Bigfoot at some point, though.
I think people have been. But we just we keep hearing the same thing over and over again. It's like, oh, there's Bigfoot, but there's no proof. There's no evidence. There was another video on YouTube where this guy who was probably about 100 yards away, and he was watch had recording this other, we'll say Bigfoot, quote unquote, throwing these trees. They weren't big trees, but it was something definitely a human couldn't throw. I mean, and I don't know. It's almost like a human throwing like maybe a 6 foot log that's probably 4 inches. That doesn't sound big, but when you're trying to throw it 20 feet, 30 feet, you're probably not going to.
Well, how
So
long
you'd be
ago was the video
surprised.
posted?
I can't remember. It was a couple years ago. I don't even know if I could find it. It was kind of like a compilation on one of the YouTube channels. I don't know. I don't know because it was pretty fuzzy too. And that was another thing. It was like a little too fuzzy.
And that's what I'm
So why
saying. Why
not?
are why are all these videos so low quality? When somebody actually posts something clear and not fuzzy, that'll be
I know.
when I say, okay, Bigfoot's real. And it's become such a staple in our kind of culture in America now because I forget, was it Geico that used Bigfoot in their
It,
commercials?
they used the caveman.
Oh, okay, fan.
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed, like if I try to record something close with my camera on my phone and I try to zoom in, it gets to a certain point, it gets fuzzy and pixelated. So that's another thing. Like people
Well, that's because you have
are
Android.
Oh, burn. And one of my camera lenses broke in, and
But in this generation now, people have like insane cameras where I don't know if you've seen people can take pictures of the moon and it looks so clear. Why can they do
oh
that just
yeah,
in outer space but can't take a good picture of Bigfoot?
I know, right? Look at the picture of this. Look at the picture of the moon. All right, now let's go up to Oregon. Let's go up to Canada and find Bigfoot with that camera.
The only thing I can think of is it's a migrational thing. If Bigfoot was actually real, Bigfoot would be like migrating down from Canada because they have so much wilderness up there. And
So
then
why migrate down? Why not going up?
well, because it's cold.
Yeah, but they're huge though, and they're very well insulated. All that hair,
That's what we've
so
seen,
maybe
but
they hibernate.
the same thing with, bears. They get fluffier during the winter, but then they wouldn't be able to stay that fluffy during the summer.
It's because they lose it all through the hibernation. Their body's eating itself.
But what if that's the
That
same
makes
thing
no
as
sense.
Bigfoot
Mhm.
loses its coat? Like rabbits do
Maybe.
it, ferrets do it, foxes do it.
You know what? We need a Bigfoot expert. So if there's a Bigfoot expert out there, there probably is. I'm gonna get tons of comments. I'm a Bigfoot expert. No, okay. Sure, dude.
There
I
was
don't
that
know.
TV
That's a
show
good
Finding
theory.
Bigfoot.
There's there's always a TV show finding Bigfoot.
And the
There
reason it
has
got
been since the
canceled was
80s.
because they could never find Bigfoot.
Yeah, and it was either that show or another show, and they're like, "We're gonna find Bigfoot, and we're gonna prove Bigfoot exists," and they never did. It was on Discovery or the Animal Planet channel, Planet, and I can't remember. I
Animal
don't have
Planet.
basic cable. Yeah, I don't have basic cable anymore. I don't even know what's on anymore. I just gotta live my life through just like what's going on outside, which is nothing.
But that's all I
Uh,
have for Bigfoot. That's all the information I got on him. Surprisingly, it's just, well, not surprisingly, it's just the same thing over and over told a different way.
Where's that cool picture I sent you of Bigfoot and the kid on his shoulders? That's proof right there.
We're not including a movie.
Oh,
This is a
come on. It
scientific
was
debate.
so I forgot to put my lab coat on.
Well, make
Sorry.
sure you bring your spooky lantern because we're going to be hitting Salem and its hauntings next week. As
Ooh, I love it.
you went to Salem, right?
No, never went to Salem.
Oh, you didn't do that when we
Ye-
were out there?
No, the last 3 times we went to mass, I have not been to Salem yet.
Oh,
Been to Connecticut, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, but no Salem.
well, maybe when we get all this information on the hauntings of Salem, you'll have to book your flight out there because I know you're skeptical of ghosts.
Okay, let's go. Wait a minute, I thought I was witches.
Ghost witches.
They're coming back.
Exactly. They're coming back to haunt and put cast spells on you.
I like it. Alright, okay. Next little podcast we do, let's talk about ghost witches from Salem.
But
I
that
like it.
concludes our podcast for the day. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts of what Bigfoot experience you have or have heard, or if you believe in Bigfoot, and subscribe so you don't forget to keep up with our content and see when we post new things. And that's all I have.
And if you like stories of horror, check out Life's Horrors on YouTube
Yes.
as well. That's LIFESHORRORS. Thank you, everybody.